Hi everyone, welcome back. Something a little bit different. This is the Commodore Amiga 500 with a 20 megabyte hard drive. You heard me right, 20 megabyte. There it is there. So let me set the stage for you. In essence, this is what you would use, a floppy disk with an operating system to normally boot a computer like this. So that's what you would use. Now this is in the days when XTs and the very early Windows computers were out. An XT was basically a green screen with a command line. And Windows 1 came out around the time that you could buy that hard drive. So we're talking around circa 1989. Now, to be able to have a hard drive like this, to be able to run a Windows-based operating system and multitasking to boot was quite unusual, but I had one. Now, 20 megabyte doesn't sound like much, and today it doesn't. But I want to show you what this is. Really shows you just how bloated software has gotten and what you could do with a computer back then for just 20 megabyte of actual space. So if we go into the hard drive here, now see how it is a Windows-based type operating system. Okay, so that's opening software that's actually mounted, stored on that hard drive. Let's open this one. This is called Analyze, and this was virtually one of the very, very first graphical spreadsheet systems you could ever buy. So you could enter into that cell, move to another cell, enter whatever, and then if you want to do, you could then I can't remember. I honestly can't remember how to write the formulas for this. But then you'd put a command in there and that would calculate the answers for you. And this is quite mind-boggling. It was so far ahead of anything that was available. It's not funny. I'll just close that. By the way, my apologies about the flicker down here. To me to be able to run this on this old LCD, I've got to go through this VGA adapter, and it, for some reason, does this flicker. Just a word of explanation: the Amiga was based on the PAL and NTSC video systems at the time. Again, it was quite unique. What that meant was you could display this on televisions of that era and operate it. It also meant that you could link up to video systems through a Genlock and do all sorts of things. And if you're old enough to remember a television program called Home Improvements, all the graphics on that program was done through an Amiga. Now it was an Amiga 4000, I remember, and through a thing called a toaster, NewTek toaster. NewTek, by the way, still exists. Anyway, getting back to this. So as I said, what you are looking at, even though it looks a bit clunky at the moment, in relative terms was so far ahead of its time it's not funny. Okay, let's show you, what else have we got here? ProWrite. Okay. So, ProWrite is basically like a Word desktop publishing program. Okay, we've got all these different utilities, just like modern computers. And dpaint, look at this. We'll open dpaint. Now, you remember I mentioned that the Amiga was able to work on television screens. So you had different resolution screens relevant to the type of image you wanted to show. So we'll just open that in its standard configuration. Now, as you can see, this Deep Paint is like Photoshop. And you'll see here you've got different tools to work on. There's a text command, and you can write and draw lines and do all sorts of bits and pieces. Now, we will load something. Maybe it's in other. Let's have a look. Pics. There we go. And here we go. This is going to be an interesting one. Look at this. This is me at the Marysville School. Now, I really want you to understand this. This is quite incredible. That's a full color picture. Now, admit it, it's 8-bit, but it's in a. I've loaded it into a program, not dissimilar to Photoshop, and I could manipulate that and do things with it if I wanted to. And this was basically 1980s. So we'll quit that. And one last thing, organizer. Look at this. So what we have here, let it open. That'll do. It was asking me for date and time. Just anything in that mode. So this is like one of those old school analog organizers. Now, you had your calendar, you had your diary. You could double click in there, add a diary entry. There's your title, put your notes. You can put the date, when it ends, the time, whatever. Okay, cancel that. Tasks. You can put in a task and do exactly the same thing. Double click, set up a task. You've got addresses, which I haven't got any in there at the moment, but I could easily add something. Look at that. And supplementary. Supplements were, well, in this case, information about how to work the program. But the point is, I mean, as I said, this is the sort of thing that you would not see in a Windows program for quite a number of years. Okay, I think that might do for the moment. Oh yeah, there's, where is it? One last thing. Oh yeah, microfiche. So microfiche was an analog system in the past where you'd put film into a viewer and then you'd move it around to actually have a look at the data. Well, back in the days, there was a programmer who, in essence, created a database program to do just that. And here we go. But it's a full-on. So let's open an entry. Look, database with information. But if you grab the window, so if you've got a really large database, see what happens? You can move around and then find the one you want and then look at it. Look it up. Anyway, whoops. So you can literally just scroll around, and if you had a really large database, but it also had search capabilities. Yeah, it was quite incredible. It even had the ability to be relational. There we go. We'll get out of that. Okay. So we'll just close all these. And there we go. We're back to Workbench, which was the operating system at the time. Look, I hope you have found this interesting. This is a pretty rare piece of equipment, this little hard drive here. The Amiga 500s are still around. although they're getting harder to find. My main computer at the time was an Amiga 2000, and what was different from the 600, sorry, from the 500, was that it had a bigger box, which meant I could put in expansion boards and do all sorts of things. Other than that, the sad part is that Commodore, the company that made it, went broke, and I think it was around 1992, yeah, around that period, 1993. They went broke, and look, the Amiga lived on through a number of successive different changes, but not for much longer. Although, interestingly enough, there is still available software you can run under Windows to actually run emulation Amiga programs. It's a piece of software from Italy called Cloanto. So, yeah, it's quite amazing. So, in essence, I can run an Amiga on my MacBook, M1 MacBook Pro, so I'll emulate Windows and then run an emulator within Windows to run Amiga software. There you go. How crazy is that? Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you found this little blast from the past interesting.